And what about you? This is a part two of this wee Ford Fiesta. Full servicing and inspection, getting it ready for MOT. So if you haven't already seen part one, the link's down in the description, and we're going to continue on with the service. Okay, so while we're up here, while we're in the engine bay, we're going to we'll change the air filter. Now this air filter will probably be okay, because I changed it about 12,000 miles ago, about a year and a half ago. As I say, on petrols, the air filter it'll last a lot longer than diesels because your throttle plate is closed most of the time. So petrols draw in a lot less air than diesels. Diesels, you really need to change the air filter every time. Petrols, sometimes you can get away with, just blowing it out and reusing it. But for all the pricey air filters, you just change them, especially in this wee car. It's the size of nothing. So there we go. It is pretty black. That's 12,000 miles. That wee thing's done. That's a Borgen back air filter, which is a fairly cheap aftermarket make. But I put that in. So another thing I want to do is want to check the inside of this thing here. Now, you see an awful lot of these are full of muck, and if you put an air filter in, it's just gonna lift all that muck into the new air filter. So you need to clean that out. If there is debris in it, this one here is okay. So I don't really need to do anything at all. I might give it a bit of a wipe with a cloth. It's just a wee bit dusty, really, in the airbox. But if that airbox, again, especially in diesels, because they suck in so much air all the time, you probably want to take the airbox out and give it a clean, some brake cleaner and what have you. This one here is good. I've probably done it before, so that's why. So we'll look at our new air filter. This is pretty cheap aftermarket make. This is Quintal Hazel. It's TJ filters, by Quintal Hazel. But it'll be grand for this application. So there we go. Nice and neat. And I'm going to break my own rules here. You should really have clean hands. You don't want to dirty up the new air filter. That's why it's in that wee bag. That's why it's in that wee bag. Right, bit of slang for you there. Northern Ireland slang. So make sure it's seated properly. You don't rely on the cover to seat it for you, because you'll just pull all that seating rubber. It'll just squeeze it out. So seated properly, and there we go. So not much to do there. Pretty simple, 5-minute job. Again, that air filter there would have been less than a tenner, I would have thought. So definitely worth doing. So we'll get these tightened down, and don't need to swing in these because it's just a steel bolt getting into a plastic housing in this one. So it's coarse threaded screw, and you don't want to swing on them whenever it goes down. And if it's tight going in, again, you're cross threading, so you're getting a bit cattywampus, a bit of an angle or something like that, and you just strip that air box out. And you don't want to whenever you're doing any work in a car, you don't want to make the situation worse. You don't want to ruin something. Sometimes you may get a car and somebody's been there before you, and there's that's the way it is. There's not much you can do about it, but certainly just a bit of care and attention. And what I tend to do is just stick that back in the box again. And that's for the skip. So while we're here, we'll just throw a drop of screen wash in for the guy. Winter is coming, and we can only assume that the owner just uses water. He may use screen wash, I don't know. But we'll just put a dash in it. How are we looking at there? And it is pretty full, so we'll just fire a taste of this stuff in. This is concentrated screen wash I'm using. Now, a lot of the screen wash that you'll buy in there's overflowing. A lot of screen wash you'll buy in supermarkets and stuff is not concentrated, so it's not concentrated. So the screen a lot of screen mouse you buy in supermarkets, the 5 litre tub is mostly water. This is concentrated, the stuff I use from the car parts supplier. So that's the difference. You buy stuff out of supermarket and that's going to overflow a bit, but just fill up. So good wee thing to do there, just while we're here. Now another wee thing, you know, a lot of visual inspections here. You know, the battery terminal's tight or the corroded, hanging off. Battery, is it clamped in? You know, we're going to give the bonnet catch, we're going to give it a bit of a squirt with WD-40 or something like that. Make sure it's nice and clear. Make sure the coolant is up. We can maybe do a tiny wee taste of coolant there, not much, it's not too bad. And have a wee visual, any hoses hanging off or anything like that. So that's what we're doing with the service. So a quick look, see if there's any pipes hanging off or cracked or broke or anything like that. So that's all part of the deal. Okay, coolant is just on the minimum. This is pretty cold engine. We've drained all the oil out of it, and if it was warm, we wouldn't do that because the coolant expands. So we're just on the minimum mark here, which is just below that mold line. Maximum's just above the mold line. You can see it pretty clearly. Maybe not in the camera, but you can see it in real life pretty clearly. So this is G30 50-50 mix, and we're just getting it up to the max line. Didn't take too much, so that's the stuff we're using there. I buy that again. That's concentrate. When I buy that, that's concentrated. So I do a 50-50 mix on it, and I mark which ones are mixed, which containers are mixed, and which ones are not. The next thing I want to do a wee quick check the brake fluid here, just to make sure it's okay. Now, a lot of times it's very, very hard to read unless the brake fluid's stinking. It's very, very hard to read the mark. So, shiny wee torch in it there, and I'm actually, yeah, it's just below the maximum. So pretty happy with that. If we can pull this, sometimes you can't pull these wee sieves out, but in this one we can get that out. Okay, set that over, and a wee quick brake fluid check with this tester. Just testing it for water, and 1 amber light. That's reading okay there. So that's testing the conductivity of the water, or of the water, or of any water that's in it. So it lit up okay there, which was the first light, which is less than 1% moisture in it. So just a wee quick check, and that's it for that one. So we're back onto the car, and this has been dripping the whole time that we were doing the spark plugs and the air filter and all these other wee checks, so we'll give that a wee rub there. So again, you want to inspect this sump bolt. There's a rubber washer. All Fords have, European Fords anyway, have this rubber sealing ring in here. If that's damaged or it isn't there or anything like that, there's no copper cross washer in these. So anything like that, you need to replace that whole bung. So this one is in good nick. Happy enough to reuse it. Give it a wee wipe. And this, again, steel bolt and an aluminium. So you don't want to swing in this. There's no need to swing in this. And there it goes in lovely free by hand. So threads are in good condition. As I say, I serviced this car, so I don't have any problems with some bunks. Now, there's that clicking there. 27 Newton meters is the spec on this sump bolt, so it's not much at all. You don't swing on these on any sump bolt, especially if it's an aluminium. But any one, even steel sump. So that's a crack with that. Right, so I'm gonna replace this oil filter then that we took off the start of the video, and again we're going to use Bosch. So there's the part number there. We started getting a lot of Bosch stuff in, so they seem to be a big player in the aftermarket and pretty reasonably priced. So this is made in Germany, as it says on it. It's a white filter, white in colour, as opposed to the black one, the Mal. But these should be a wee quality. We'll see how it goes with this. It looks pretty good. It looks like there's a valve in it and an anti-drain back valve and stuff like that. So the other thing is, if there is a lot of muck and debris on this surface here, you want to give it a wee wipe. But I'm going to put oil back on it again. So I'm not going to wipe this. This sump these sumps get plastered in oil whenever you do these oil filters. So we'll just give it a scoop of brake clean when we're done. So what I do is simply get the oil filter and give it a wee quick dip in the bucket of oil. Like so. Give it a wee quick dip in the bucket of oil. So there's no oil getting into the end of the filter. It's just the seal ring there. And we offer it up by hand and start it with the threads. There we go. It wasn't on the thread there, so I had to pull it back slightly, and you can see that getting in. Right, so tightness of these oil filters. So you hoof it up by hand there. That's nice and tight. There is a torque spec. It's usually around 25 newton meters. Everything we're doing here is all around the 25 newton meters. Spark plug's a wee bit less in this particular car because there's no crush washer on it. But what I like to do, you don't want to put any tools in this. Now you can get things that go over these here, and if they are awkward and you can't get your hand on this, you can. There are kits. I have kits that will fit on the ribs on this. You can actually torque it, but what I do is I just get a rag, and yeah, that's dead on. So we'll give that sump a wee toot with brake clean while the oil drain bucket is below us. Just give it a clean up. We'll give it, just go mad here with the brake clean. That's it. Now, we think about spraying brake clean all over the place. You don't want to spray that around electrical connectors, believe it or not. The wee rubber seal that's in the connectors that keeps the water out, the moisture out, it can actually melt them. So that brake clean there. So you just need to, whenever you're spraying all over the place like the way I did there, you don't want to do it in around electrical connectors. You just need to watch what you're doing, and just not be as crazy like I was there with it. But in this case, it was okay to do that because it's as you can see, it's nice and clear. So just when the car's still in the air, then we're going to just go around all the wheels, give them a bit of a spin, make sure they're not bending. Have a look at the springs, see if there's any broken springs in the car that the guy didn't know about. Have a wee look at the brake pipes, make sure they're not corroded. Have a look at the tyres, and we'll just have a wee look at that. Let me see if we can get you up onto the tyre here. So this is left front, and there's wee spuds you can feel with your fingers there, and that's your wear indicator. So this one's okay, it's legal, and yeah, it's not bad. This car, I had a wee look at the to see whether this car was MOT'd and taxed, and the MOT, it's taxed next year. You must have taxed it recently, and but the MOT is due on it in a couple of weeks. So we'll just give them a bit of advice. The front two tyres are good. We'll have a wee look at the brake pads just to make sure the brake pads, we can't really see them in the wheel there, but if I shine a torch in, I can get a wee bit of an idea of the wear on them. So it's especially important on the rears to do this. So we're on the rear left, and we notice this car has drums on it. It's got brake shoes, so we need to make sure these wheels are free. There's an awful lot of cars with drums. The linkages stick and in the handbrake, so that's associated with the handbrake. So you'll get one wheel that's not spinning freely to the other one. So that will need addressed. Now I'm just looking at this tire as well. See if we can get you in the shot here a bit better. Don't know if you can see that or not, but the wear indicator is level with the tread. So, and the other one is not far behind it, but this is the worst one, and it's wearing evenly. So yeah, the wear indicators are level of tread, so he needs 2 new back tires. Right, this might be a bit shaky as I'm not in the gimbal. We're gonna have a look at the springs. Bit rusty on the back, on the bottom of them springs there, but they're in one piece, so we're okay with the springs. The other one over the other side there is much the same, but it ain't broke, so we're okay with that. Brake pipes are grand. Handbrake cable is in position, it's clipped in, no wires hanging loose or anything like that. Shock absorbers look okay, not leaking. Again, that brake pipe's pretty good as well. So we'll just have another visual. Another thing that happens with these cars, a lot of Fords, is these heat shields. So we'll just address that for the guy while we're here. Right, so be 10 mil in this. This one's coming off nicely. And quick, simple, dirty repair. Stick a washer on it. So I keep these big washers for this very job. Get it sort of centralized there, and that'll catch that. So what happens is the shield disintegrates. Really, it's not very. It's like thick tin foil, and come on, baby. And you don't need to swing on that again. There we go. I'll stop that rattling. I don't know where else will come up on camera or not, but we want to do a wee bit of 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock to check for any play, and 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, back and forward, and they're just very, very. You don't go mad with it like that. You just give it a wee tiny wee rock, and there's movement in that. Don't know where I'll get this on camera here or not, but so we can see a tiny wee bit of movement in the track rod end there. So we'll advise the customer he needs track rod end. Right, so the car's back down on the ground again. That's everything that we need to do when it's up in the air. So we'll just take a mental note. Sump bungs in, oil filters on. Yes, definitely did that. So we're going to fill our oil now. So when I look up the Coma website, which is the brand that I use, it shows 3.7 litres for a fill for this engine and 0.3 for the filter. So we're going to use, I have a funnel that's cut here that will fit in nicely. So the oil that we're going to use is this Zetec stuff, 5W30. So I don't know whether you can read that or not. I'll try and focus it for you. This, we call it Ford oil basically, and it goes into everything. Every Ford, Jaguar and Land Rover. Even the 3 litre V6s uses that exact same oil. Same oil as in this wee Ford engine. So that's an A5B5 European spec, or the American is SLCF 5W30 fully synthetic. So we'll have a gradation on the side here, if that's the right word. And this is a full one, so it's 5 litres. So we're going to fill this until it's just sort of above the 1 litre here, and we know we're sort of close there, and then we'll dip it and check it. So we'll just dispense just shy of 4 litres into this thing. So there we go, holding that reasonably level, I think. So just shy of 4 litres has gone into that. There's that brand again. So let me see. Well, pull our wee funnel out. Give it a bit of a wipe so it doesn't fall all over the place. That's it, so you rag the hand. And cap on for startup. So we'll give it a wee startup. Here we go. Start her up. So that's grand then. So I'm just going to let that idle for a couple of minutes, just to get the oil into the oil filter and get the oil all around the engine, and just let it go for a couple of minutes. It's while the oil is settling down, I've taken the car off the ramp and we're going to change the pollen filter. This is a forgot about filter, and in this particular car it resides in driver's side UK. So I'll get that wee screw thing out there. We go, that's it out. I need to pull this plastic trim out now. This is going to be, these can be a bit of a curse, so they can't, because they're held in at the gear string end. That's it, pulled out, comes out with a bit of a it just comes out, so it'll be, putting them in again is a bit harder. So what's that there? It's like a wee Torx thing, so we'll get that. Right, a wee bit of a delay there, but we got her. That's a wee Torx, wee T20, I think it is. So it's just a wee screw that goes into the wee coarse threaded screw there, it goes into the plastic. And that drops off. Doing this one-handed, and we'll just need to get something to be able to get that out with my fingers. You may need a wee pick to do that. This is the pollen filter. Now I changed this pollen filter. I'm doing this more just to show you. I'm going to change it anyway, because got it out. There's no point putting the old one back in again. So this is our pollen filter. Now it should be pretty good, Nick. Oh, it's a bit dirty there, look. But one thing you want to note is the way that came out. So there we go. Oh, get the end in the shot there. Airflow. So there's a couple of arrows on it showing the airflow. So with your new one, you want to replicate that. Just while we're here, the other thing you can do is you can tell, see the dirt on it there? You can tell that the air is going that way. So that corresponds to the arrows on it. Okay. So you can tell that the air has been passing this way because it's dirty on that side and clean that side. So we've got the new one here. We've got a new one, and we'll have indeed arrows in it. Airflow. So we know what the orientation is. The other wee thing is some manufacturers of some of them in the aftermarket do actually give you a wee fitting instructions thing. Now, this can be handy sometimes if you're not sure what side. You know, you don't want to start taking the glove box out and then discover it's on the driver's side. So there's a couple of wee pictures maybe that just tell you the location rather than how to do it. You know, so it's just a simple in and out job. But I'll give you an idea of location. Some of them give you that, some of them don't. But we're just going to stick this in again, and if we get the orientation correctly. Airflow pointing towards me, so that goes in the bottom. So sometimes these can be awkward enough, and you end up. I've pulled pollen filters out before that other people have put in, and this thing's just all crushed and. You know, it's not really filtering anything. It's not really doing anything. But this is a forgotten about filter, and people don't do it. So I've seen a lot of cars where I go to take a pollen filter out, and it's the original one, and it's never been changed, and the thing is completely clogged up. So they're not getting the good amount of airflow out of the vents, if that's the case. So that clicks in the top there. Just feeding it behind. Yeah, that's it. That's it in, and our wee screw just it really just stops that from falling out really. So we'll just give it a wee tighten up. Oh, not the camera again as usual. Always knocking the camera. Just give it a wee tiny nip up. So our next trick then is bringing the focus again. Our next trick is getting this old plastic thing on. This can be a bit of a curse. So as I said, so its where it goes in. I'll just spin you around here. It's where it goes in on the gear lever. So there's the gear lever there. So where it clicks in, and there's a couple of wee tabs here and there. So that bit there goes behind here. So you want to try and get that back bit in first. So I don't really be able to see all this here, but give this a go. Let's see what happens. There's a couple of clips at the back, and we'll need to sort of lift this console up a wee bit, I think. And yeah, it's gonna be a bitch. Nearly there. And what was that? Oh, that was the footwell light went off. So that's not too bad. And let me see now. We'll get that wee thing in there, and we'll be able to just push that in. So there we go. So that's the cabin filter or pollen filter changed. So the time it's taken us to do that, it's time it's taken me to do that. I'm happy enough we'll go and check the oil level now. We're back in the engine bay, so the oil should have dropped to level in the time it took us to do that. To the pollen filter. So this is the ritual. Dipstick out, give it a bit of a wipe with a cloth, and back in again. Make sure it's home. Out we go. And yeah, it's just not bad at all there. It's just pretty, actually spot on. So yeah, that wasn't too bad at all there. Nice and clean as well still, but it was only running for about 2 or 3 minutes, and that's the level, and it's been sitting for about 5 minutes 10 minutes till I did the pollen filter. So pretty happy with that. I'm okay with that. A slight overfill is okay. I wouldn't get too worried about a slight overfill. Diesel cars with DPFs and stuff like that, you do not want to put too much oil in it. You don't want to go over it too much. A wee petrol like this, that, you know, a slight overfill isn't too bad, but that one there's spot on. So another wee thing I like to do then, with the doors fully open, we're going to give these door jambs a bit of a scoop with this white grease stuff. This is white grease, so I don't know where that's better than ordinary grease, but you could scoot it with ordinary grease, not too much, and that just stops the old door jambs from sticking. So this is a 2-door car, and we'll do both doors. Quick check of all his lights, indicators, all the bulbs are working. Check the brake lights. So we want to make sure we do the brake lights that none of the other lights are dimming whenever the brake lights are coming on, so that would be an indicator of bad earth, not cluster. And we check the number plate lights here. They're forgotten about an awful lot. So lights check okay. And rear fog and front fogs, but rear fog is legal requirement. So that's basically it. That's that for this one. It's all we're going to do with this service. It's just a routine service. Not too many tools required. Torque wrench, a good spark plug socket. Honestly, you really do need a good spark plug socket for anything. We thing I forgot to mention when we're taking the oil filter off, make sure that rubber seal comes with it. That rubber seal doesn't stay on the block. Sometimes it does, very, very rarely, but sometimes that rubber seal there doesn't come off with the old oil filter. That's the old oil filter, mal, and I just put them in the oil box for to contain the oil, so it doesn't leak all over the place. And it's going to be just disposed of properly. The engine oil is disposed off properly as well. And the oil seal, make sure that stays on the old filter. If it remains on the block and you spin the new oil filter on and you have two gaskets, then basically it'll leak like crazy. It'll really well leak like mad. So one wee thing left to do on this wee car is to record the mileage and what we did. There's no service light on this car, not that I noticed anyway. It's not on, and we'll get that noted down in the service book, and I'll put my stamp on it, and we'll contact the customer, tell them the car's ready, all's good, give them the advisories of I think it's just a track rod end and two rear tires he needs, and tell him that his MOT's up in about 2 weeks. He might even know that, so he never mentioned it anyway. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. It gives you a few wee hints and tips. There's a few wee things to watch out for. It's not just a case of gun-ho where you go change them out and all that. A few wee things that you need to sort of know. It's worthwhile knowing, I think. Comes from experience and being methodical, and that's it, really. Maybe a wee bit more to it, meets the eye. Make sure you use the right oil for the right engine. As I say, those Como products at the website, type in the registration. If you're UK or Ireland, the registration will show you the quantity and the type of oil that you need to do. Any aftermarket parts store, motor factors or whatever, you just give them the registration and they'll tell you the oil. Just don't pick up any oil, certainly not out of a supermarket anyway. So the oil change is the big one. If you change the oil every year or every about 10,000, 12,000 on a petrol, the engine will give you good service. The other thing about this car, we had a visual inspection of the belts. This car is a timing belt, 16 valve, 2 cams on it. It's due at about 100,000 miles, so it's about another 30,000 miles in this car left for that. It looks okay. They're not known for snapping prematurely. It does not drive the water pump on these wee Fords. And the other wee thing is the Serpentine Belt, or the belt that goes around the alternator, has no tensioner on it on these Ford engines. The 1.25 and the 1.6 is the same. They're a stretch belt, so it's worthwhile looking at the condition of that, because you'll not be able to fit that on the roadside. You need sort of special tools really to fit the Serpentine Belt on these things. So anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Maybe got something out of it. Like, share, subscribe, tell your mates, and leave a comment if you liked it. If you didn't like it, then go and watch something else. So all the best. Thanks. Bye bye.